Hey folks, Jason here with another quick music theory tip. This video is in response to a request/question from Mark. Mark asked, I would love to hear what you have to say about building patterns over the diminished, altered, Lydian augmented, and whole tone scales. What is a good way to practice these scales besides mindlessly running them up and down? That's a great question, a really big question that I can't answer in the course of one video. I do not have time to go over all those scales, and even if I just select one of these scales, there's so many approaches to thinking about how to generate new melodic ideas. So I'm just going to use one approach today. This is based on a vertical conception of melodic improvisation, where rather than thinking about the notes of the scale individually as creating a sequence, I'm thinking about chords buried in the scale and trying to outline those chords. This vertical approach allows me to see the triads buried in a whole tone scale. So again, if I play that C whole tone scale, there are 6 triads buried in here. Based on scale degree 1, we have C augmented. Based on scale degree 2, D augmented. Based on scale degree 3, E augmented. Based on scale degree 4, F sharp or G augmented. Based on scale degree 5, G sharp or A flat augmented. And based on scale degree 6, B flat or A sharp augmented. Now I can keep a pretty almost scalar shape where, similar to running up the scale, I just do the chords running up. So C augmented, D augmented, E augmented, F sharp augmented, G sharp augmented, B flat augmented. Nothing wrong with that, but that can also get kind of old after a while. So one of the things to really play with once you've familiarized yourself with all the triads that are buried within a scale is to say, okay, what are some different contours or shapes I can create? So an easy enough one to start with as an exercise is to say, okay, I'm going to do a mountain shape. And this is essentially where I move up root third fifth on one chord and then move to another chord moving down, 5, 3, 1. So this is kind of like walking up a mountain, root, third, fifth, get to the top of the mountain. For the next chord, I'm going to do fifth, third, root. So just as a simple example, let's take, I don't know, scale degree 2, right? So we got a D augmented triad. What I'm going to do is the root, third, fifth, and then I'm going to go up to the next augmented triad in the whole tone scale based on scale degree 3, which is E augmented. But instead of just continuing that pattern of root, third, fifth, I'm going to make it a little more interesting by doing this, going up the mountain and back down the mountain. Root, third, fifth of the D augmented, fifth, third, root of the E augmented. So that's one approach as a shape. Another one is to think about different interval movements. This can create some nice contrast and contour or melodic shapes. So I might, for example, do this. And what I'm actually going to do is use different intervals in the D augmented triad that I just played and different interval combinations in the E augmented triad. So in addition to the thirds, we also have sixths buried in this chord. So I might do something like this. I might start on the fifth of the D augmented and go down a minor sixth to the root and then up to the third. That's a different melodic shape than root, third, fifth, and it creates a new sound. So I'm doing fifth, root, third for the D augmented, and then maybe I do fifth, third, root to create a little more contrast, so a slightly different shape on the second chord or a slightly different contour melodically. These are just a few basic strategies, and they're ones that really yield hours and hours of possibilities if you really want to go down this rabbit hole exploring. I think a lot of people, when they practice and they learn chords in a scale or the scale, they kind of just stay there and don't really go beyond that. But really thinking about shapes, I think, is a really helpful way to come up with new melodic ideas. The 2 examples I play in this video are just the tip of the iceberg. Really not even the tip of the iceberg. We're actually looking at the iceberg from a mile away through binoculars. So I encourage you to take the basic approach I outlined here with those 2 examples and have fun exploring different melodic shapes that you can do.